Hello and welcome to Moving Forward. I'm your host, Rachel Salyer, and on today's episode, we're getting a closer look at the Rethinking Race event that took place on the University of Akron's campus. Later this episode, we'll be speaking with Jim Slowiak and Sukjun Hung about their experiences. But first, with us now is the Director of the Office of Multicultural Development, Fedearia Nicholson, to tell us what Rethinking Race is all about. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Hello, Rachel. Thank you for having me here. It's my pleasure.
Great.
I am really excited to talk about the Rethinking Race Black, White, and Beyond program that has become a tradition here at the University of Akron. About 5 years ago, a group of us, faculty and administrators, were gathered together by the Dean of the College of Arts and Sciences to plan a series of events to commemorate President Bill Clinton's 10th year anniversary at that time on hosting a town hall meeting here on our campus on race. The plan at the time was for the president to launch a series of town hall meetings on race around the country, but the very first occurred here on our campus. And so we gathered together 5 years ago to plan a series of events, keynote speakers, face-to-face discussions, films, and other programming to really bring our students together to talk about race. And 5 years later, the event has grown from 3,800 students to about 8,100 students. Wow. So we are really pleased. We're pleased that students are an integral part of the programming of this event, and we're very pleased that faculty really are an important part of the programming of this event, and they incorporate this into their courses, which really makes this event quite successful and we believe quite unique to our campus.
And what is the goal of having an event like this on campus?
Well, the goal is really to increase an understanding and awareness and an appreciation also of differences. We believe that we are one of few campuses around the country that over the course of 2 weeks convenes our campus community to talk about race. We also feel that it's our responsibility as students like yourselves graduate from the University of Akron that you are prepared and equipped to really compete globally. Not only will you be competing against students who may be from your same hometown or from Akron, but from students all around the country and all around the world. And we are becoming more and more of an increasingly global society. So it's really important to be able to understand the differences of others. And so that certainly, I mean, we certainly have our 5 little bullet point goals, but if I had to summarize them, that's certainly an outcome that we want for students to gain an appreciation and an understanding of others.
And what are some of the activities that take place over the 2-week event?
Well, we have a series of keynote speakers. This year we've had speakers such as Keith Beauchamp, who is a filmmaker who did a documentary on the untold story of Emmett Lewis Till, who was a young man who was murdered in Mississippi in 1955. Which really helped launch the civil rights movement. And so we had Mr. Beauchamp here on campus. We had Douglas Blackman, who's a Pulitzer Prize winning journalist who just produced a documentary on PBS called Slavery by Another Name. So those are just 2 of many keynote speakers that we had on campus, but we had a series of face-to-face discussions where students got together to talk about various topics and issues, such as how race is portrayed in the media, in cartoons, just a variety of different topics. We also had some theatrical productions, including The Color Purple, which took place at E.J. Thomas Hall. We had a series of films and just a variety of programming.
We actually had the chance to attend one of the face-to-face events called Minorities in Cartoons. Afterwards, we spoke with some U of A students about how cartoons have affected their views on race. Let's hear what they had to say.
Silver lining, past the green of twine.
People outside of the African Americans and minorities that are looking at this, thinking that, oh, this is how the minorities act.
The idea came about because I like cartoons. So we look back mostly at Warner Brothers and Disney cartoons from the 1930s and 40s and looked at the way different minorities were portrayed.
Yes, we have to see color. It's there. It's what you do with that perception afterwards that makes the difference.
I never really paid attention to it. Like, I never really, said, oh, well, how come she's Caucasian, or, why isn't she like African American? I never really thought about that.
The big thing is it gave them an opportunity to experience something that they hadn't seen before.
Which way do you go? Which way do you go? There he goes. Where?
You have a stereotype up there, and you're looking at it, and you're seeing like, wow, this is what I'm supposed to look like. This is what I'm supposed to be, and you're just like, no, that's not it. You got it wrong. And of course, there's a negative impact.
The concept of negative projection is going to affect people in a negative manner.
Maybe when they see it, they'll stop and think, what are they trying to do with this? What message are they sending to children, or what message were they sending to me with this when I was young?
We are having a salesman for dinner, please.
We don't have to do exaggerated caricatures of people. We can have funny people who are just people.
Many students don't notice the effect that cartoons like this have until they're older and have the chance to have more life experience.
Sure.
Why do you think events like this that bring this kind of thing into the spotlight are important to have? Why do you think it's important for us to notice these things?
Well, I think it's important to notice these things, and I think even as adults, many of us sometimes don't realize the messages that innocent cartoons or films may exhibit. I think that in society we are all dominant and we are all targeted in certain areas of our life, be it race, be it class, be it economics, a variety of different factors. And often where you are dominant, you don't really see the privilege because most of the time it's invisible. It's just something that we take for granted. And so I think it's important really to be able to really talk about images that are portrayed in cartoons that we sometimes don't realize because many times they're invisible to us.
And as you mentioned, Race Week isn't strictly about race. It's also about gender, class, sexual orientation, all kinds of different things.
Often with race, some of those very factors that you just named also come into place and intersect. So the issue of race can be very complex because when it's intersected with some of those other dynamics, it makes the issue and the discussion even that much more complex.
And where do you hope to see the Rethinking Race event move in the future?
I hope to see this as a national model for the country. I would love to see other colleges and universities all across the country convene their students for a designated period of time during the year or throughout the year to have these difficult and challenging conversations. I see this event as something that really helps separate and to distinguish the University of Akron, and it's something that I hope will become a part of all of our students' Akron experience.
Well, Fedearia, thank you so much for being here today. We have to take a quick commercial break, but coming up, we'll take a closer look at another event that took place during Rethinking Race here on campus, the Cross the Line Story Circles. We'll be right back.